You're losing your life one notification at a time, and by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to stop it. Now, not slow it down, not manage it better, stop it. There is a version of you that sits down to work and actually works, that reads a book without checking your phone 17 times, that finishes what you start. That version exists, but right now something is standing between you and that person. And it is not laziness, and it is not a lack of discipline, and it is not who you are. It is a system that was built, engineered, and tested by some of the smartest people on the planet specifically to make sure you never get there. And here's what nobody tells you. The moment you understand how that system works, it loses almost all of its power over you. But before we get to that, there is something you need to feel first. Think about the last time you sat down to do something that truly mattered to you. A project, a conversation, a goal. Think about how many times your attention left that thing before it was done. Now ask yourself honestly, what did that cost to you? Not in productivity, but in life, in your identity, in the quiet, creeping feeling that you are not becoming the person you know you could be or who you want to be. That feeling has a name. It is not frustration, it is grief. A slow, silent grief for a version of yourself you keep postponing. And that grief is the real engine underneath this whole conversation. Distraction is not a modern inconvenience, it is a modern identity crisis. When you cannot focus, you do not just lose time, you lose the thread of who you are. Because who you are is built through sustained attention. Through choosing again and again what you give your mind to. Every time your attention is hijacked, something small but real is taken from you. Your narrative, your momentum, your sense that your life is going in a direction you choose. This is why distraction feels so exhausting even when it looks like rest. When you are not resting, you are being consumed by that. So what is actually happening inside your brain when you reach for your phone for the 100th time today? There is a mechanism at work that most people never see clearly, and once you see it, you cannot avoid it. Your brain is not weak. Your brain is doing exactly what brains do every day, seeking reward, avoiding discomfort, following the path of least resistance. The problem is that modern technology has learned to exploit that perfectly. Every scroll, every like, every notification is a tiny unpredictable reward. And unpredictable rewards are the most addictive kind in existence. Slot machines run on the same principle. You are not addicted to your phone, you are addicted to the possibility of something good being there. That distinction matters more than you think. Because if the enemy is possibility, then the solution is not willpower, it is architecture. Willpower is a terrible strategy against a system designed by engineers who study behavioral psychology full-time. You will lose that battle every single day, and losing it will make you feel broken, undisciplined, and ashamed. Which is exactly the kind of emotional state that sends you back to the phone for comfort. It is a loop, a closed, merciless loop, and the way out is not trying harder inside the loop. It is stepping outside of it entirely and redesigning the environment you live in so that focus becomes the easy choice, not the heroic one. Here's where most advice stops. Here's where this video doesn't. Because there is a layer beneath the environment, beneath the habits, beneath the notifications, a layer that almost nobody talks about, and it is the one that actually determines whether any of this sticks. It is your relationship with discomfort. Think about this. Every time you get distracted, you're running from something. A task that feels too hard, a thought that feels too heavy, a silence that feels too loud. Distraction is not the problem. Distraction is the exit sign above the door you open when something inside you becomes unbearable. And that if you never learn to sit with that discomfort, to breathe through it, to name it, to let it pass, then no app blocker, no morning routine, no productivity system in the world will save you about it. You will always find a way out, always. So the real question is not how do you block distractions? The real question is what are you running from? And are you ready to stop right now? Because real focus is not a skill, it is courage itself. The courage to stay in the room with your own mind long enough to do the thing that matters. And courage, unlike willpower, doesn't deplete, it compounds. Every time you stay, it becomes slightly easier to stay again. Every time you choose the hard thing over the comfortable exit, you are not just finishing a task, you are rebuilding your identity as someone who doesn't abandon themselves. That is the thing nobody tells you about becoming focused. It is not about productivity, it is about self-respect. Now, let us talk about what this actually looks like in practice, because everything said so far only matters if it changes something in your real, ordinary Tuesday afternoon life. The first move is the one that feels too simple to work. You create distance between yourself and the trigger. Physical distance. Your phone is in another room. Your social media tabs closed. Your notifications off. Not because you are punishing yourself, but because you are acknowledging something true. That in moments of discomfort, you will choose whatever is closest. So you make focus closer and escape farther. You design the battlefield before the battle starts, not during it. The second move is the one that changes everything underneath the surface. You practice staying. Not for hours, for minutes. You sit down with the uncomfortable task and you give it 10 minutes of complete phone-free, tab-free, interruption-free attention. You feel the discomfort rise. You do not run. You notice it. You name it. Boredom, anxiety, resistance, or fear. And you let it be there while you keep working. What you will discover almost immediately is that the discomfort peaks and then softens. Every single time, your brain was screaming for an exit that it didn't actually need. And once you experience that, once you feel distraction loose, something shifts. Not permanently, not dramatically, but genuinely. You learn in your body that you can do this. And then you do it again tomorrow. This is not a transformation that happens in a weekend, in a few days. It is a slow reclamation, a quiet daily act of choosing yourself over the noise. But here's what makes it worth everything. It is cumulative. The person who has practiced staying, who has built that muscle over weeks and months, doesn't just work better. They think more clearly, feel more deeply, connect more fully with the people, and live with a sense of authorship over their own existence that people drawn in distraction cannot even imagine. Not because they are special, but because they made a different choice over and over until that choice became who they are. Now, close the loop we opened at the beginning. You are losing your life one notification at a time. That was the loop. That is still true, but now you know it is not because you are a weak person, not because the world is too chaotic, and not because focus is a gift that some people have and others do not. You lose it because the system is designed to take it. They think about your psychology. You never learn to sit with discomfort long enough to outgrow it. And nobody told you that the path forward is not discipline. It is the design, courage, and repetition. The immune person is not someone who never gets distracted. It is someone who returns faster each time, with less guilt each time, with more certainty each time, that their attention belongs to them and they decide where it goes. They have the power to do that. That person is not out of reach. That person is one decision away. Make it now.